Alright, so finally Radiant ASIC miners are available on the market to purchase from trustworthy resellers. And I've done a comparison spreadsheet to help us figure out if getting these miners actually are worth it or not. And I wanted to get this information out to you guys as quickly as I possibly could. Obviously, you can see I'm not in my normal, recording studio or whatever, but hey, I'm working with what I've got here. So let's hop on over to the computer. And obviously the two miners that have come out is, first of all, this one, the Iceriver RX0, which is just these little box miner for Radiant, like we've seen with the 𝗧𝗘𝗦𝗧 for 𝗏𝗧 before, and also the AL0 for Alephium from Iceriver. And then the oddball one, which is the Dragonball A11, which is a Radiant and Alephium miner, where you are dual mining both Radiant and Alephium on this thing. So pretty strange, but let's just have a look at and see if they are worth it or not. So we've got this spreadsheet that I've put together. I'll link that down in the video description for you guys. And there are some disclaimers here that I recommend you read, and also a little guide on how to use the spreadsheet. And once that's done, you can just click on the second tab at the bottom to actually look at the comparison. And the whole point with this spreadsheet is that you can enter your own predictions into it, and it will spit back out basically some estimated results for mining with these things to help you better compare if they will be worth it or not in the end. So the way this works is basically you input your power price, you input how long you expect to be able to mine on these miners for, you input how much you expect the coin price to grow, and you input what you expect to be able to sell the miner for at the end of it all. So if you don't expect you will be able to sell the miner at the end, you just put 0 here like this. And of course, there are these two fields here as well, which is how much do you expect the network hash rate to grow before you actually get your miner to begin with. And then also, how much do you expect the network hash rate to grow each month after you get the miner? So you input that data here. Now, one thing to note right away here is I've put these as pretty low for this Radiant, just is in my example numbers here. Again, download the spreadsheet, you do that by clicking File, make a copy after following the link, and then enter your own numbers to make your own predictions. But the reason why I've put pretty low numbers here, especially in the immediate net hash growth here, is because allegedly these are supposed to have been pre-mined with and have already been on the network for many months at this point. So based on that, in theory, we shouldn't see a massive net hash spike once people start getting these miners shipped out to them. So at least that's the theory, so that is what I've input here, but of course, input your own numbers. Now, let's have a look at the comparison for these here, and you can see the Iceriver RX0, it goes for about $560 from Coin Mining Central, and keep in mind, those prices include the power supply, worldwide free shipping, and all sorts of payment fees, so that's an all-in number. And they actually have given me a discount code for this RX0, which is 𝗧𝗛𝗥𝗧𝗦, and it gives you about $26 off. Now, these are pretty cheap miners, these RX0s, so I guess profit margins aren't very big for them, but they were still able to give this $26 discount code for you guys, so I thought that was pretty nice of Coin Mining Central. Now, the second miner here, the Dragonball A11, significantly more expensive at 11,000. You can get the full $131 off with the 𝗧 discount code on that, but still, these are into completely different leagues, right? But when we compare them, which we can do down here, you can see that the efficiency, which is basically just how many watts of electricity does the miner use per hash, like gigahash of hash rate. You can see the Iceriver RX0 is just completely obliterating the Dragonball miner there, with being well more than twice as efficient. And even on a price per gigahash measure here, you can see it's also way cheaper per gigahash than the Dragonball A11. There is one thing to note here, and that is that this spreadsheet does not account for the fact that the Dragonball miner also mines Alephium. It dual mines both of those coins. So this is only taking into account the Radiant side of the mining for the Dragonball miner. So, the Dragonball miner will do a little bit better than what is stated in this spreadsheet here. And then if we just look at the current break-even time for these two miners, you can see that basically it's 59 days for the RX0 and 106 days for the A11, which those are insane break-even times in a good way. However, that's based on, you know, today's network hash rate and today's coin price and all of those things. So it's probably not gonna happen and be in that way. And that's why we have these things to calculate a more real, or make a more educated guess on kind of where the ROI will land. But it's based on today's numbers, 59 days break even on the Iceriver RX0, which is crazy. Now, taking a look at the actual mining results. So this is based on the numbers input here. You will have mined after 24 months, basically $7,000 worth of Radiant or whatever coin you may so choose to swap into. You know, that's the thing with these miners. You can always mine the Radiant, but then swap that into another coin, kind of taking advantage of the profitability of these miners, but getting those payouts in a different coin. You can even do that through something like Unmineable if you want, or of course you can swap manually as well. But estimated final revenue with the RX0, 7,000 based on these numbers, or 86,500 with the A11. And also that's not taking into account the Alephium side of it all. But then of course there's some power costs added to that, as well as, you know, the actual price of the miner. So in the end, the total final profit, meaning how much more money in your pocket when the whole thing is over and done with, according to the numbers you have input here, would be an extra $6,157 with the Iceriver RX0, or 66,500 with the Dragonball A11, plus whatever extra you're making from the Alephium you're mining with that Dragonball A11 as well. Now again, that is based on a pretty conservative net hash growth entered here, so please enter your own numbers there and see how that affects things. It's also based on a 6 times coin price increase, so if we, let's say, instead change that to the coin price not going up at all, we can see here, you know, it changes things pretty significantly. But also keep in mind, when we don't do any sort of coin price growth here, this is how much more money you would have made versus just buying the coin instead. So that is something to take into account too. And as we can see here with the Dragonball A11, actually losing out versus just buying the coin, you know, if you can buy the coin on a 1-to-1 ratio with buying the miner. But with the RX0, based on these numbers, you are actually still basically almost doubling your money versus just buying the coin here. So that's something to take into account. But I'm gonna finish this video here. Please download the spreadsheet and enter your own numbers. I'd rather you just make your own predictions rather than just go by my little example predictions I put in here. So check out the spreadsheet, link down in the video description. Thanks for watching.